Hey everyone, I'm Sage Valentine. Welcome to my channel of the same name. If you guys want to chat about TV, Under the Dome, Hannibal, Big Brother, hit me up on Twitter and Google Plus at Sage Valentine. But let's get into this review of CBS's Under the Dome Season 3, Episode 3. So what did I think about this episode? When Big Jim starts making sense, that is when you start listening to him. And he definitely caught on to what was going on in Chester's Mill and did the right thing by getting into that boat and paddling away. My only question is, what is up with the doggy? Because the doggy just appeared out of nowhere, and then Big Jim had to feed the doggy some, like, it looked like either chocolate or like a energy bar or something. And then, to make a long story short, Jim has packed up this boat and he sees the dog. He's telling the dog to leave, and then he decides, you know what, doggy, you can come with me. Let's just get the hell away from this part of Chester's Mill. Because he was talking about going to, like, Rhode Island. I was like, I know the dome is kind of big, but I don't think it stretches that far. So I guess he's going to go probably and stay on one of the cabins in the woods somewhere. And I'm kind of worried about Big Jim's character, because he's making sense. And I know from watching different television shows that when a character really starts to make sense and really is the voice of reason, they always end up getting killed off. So as much as I have a love-hate relationship with Big Jim Rennie, I don't want anything to happen to Jim. Now let's get back to our faves. Joe and Nori's relationship is strained. Barbie and Julia's relationship is strained. Junior and Big Jim's relationship as father and son was a mess. It had only become worse from season 1 to season 2, and after what happened in season 3, and then Junior got sucked into the fake world. Now Junior's all messed up. It's just like all of these characters are messed up. And going into this episode, I was wondering, like, I wonder what they're going to reveal about Christine and Eva. So where should I start really quickly in regards to these different characters? We'll start with Barbie and Julia. Barbie still has that connection to Eva, and you could see it as plain as day when Barbie was about to, like, had his gun basically pointed at Big Jim, and to make a long story short, Eva pops in the room or in the building, and Eva's just like, Dale, and he stops and he looks at her, and then Julia's kind of looking like, well, how does she know your name? And you could tell that that connection is still there, and Julia could feel it, even though Julia also felt that Barbie was different. And I guess she understood that he was different because of what happened, or he was going to be a little bit off, but he's 100% different. And the way that Barbie was reacting in regards to Melanie, it was like Melanie could do no wrong, which was pretty funny. Yeah, I know that he and Melanie are brother and sister, but he was still a little bit iffy about Melanie before he went into this cocoon stasis thingy. And then when she died, it was just like he became a lot, like, more withdrawn and hurt. And I mean, you would understand that he would be grieving, but the difference is just like he didn't want to be, like, he hugged Julia. They had this connection, but you could still feel that he was disconnected from Julia. And at the end, when he grabbed Eva's hand, I was like, yeah, okay. They're still a couple. Then you have Hunter and Nori, who, of course, almost bumped uglies in last episode, but lo and behold, they popped out of the cocoons and they're back. And see, what happened was that Joe was very receptive to everything that was happening in the cocoon. That's why Joe is kind of still his same self. And the thing about Joe is just that Joe could also see, like Julia, that something was going on with Nori and Hunter. And especially after he saw how, like, kind of withdrawn Nori was, and then the fact that Nori, I guess, consented to taking Andrea Grinnell's body out of her house and just, like, kind of wrapping it up and just kind of tossing her aside. It just didn't seem like Nori. Not the Nori that we know, and not the Nori that Joe that Joe loves. And then there's this whole thing with Junior acting completely out of whack, as if he has been acting sane throughout the first 2 seasons. No, but he's just completely off the deep end. And then we see him talking about severing ties with his father. Then as soon as his father basically jumped down his throat, he's trying to kill himself. And then Sam tried to tell him, like, listen, you need to join this support group. And he was like, I just can't do it. I can't talk in front of these people, in front of the people in the town. And then the next thing you know, he runs across Christine. Christine's telling him to finish what he started, basically back in the dreamlike world, which was set his childhood house on fire. And that's exactly what he does. And when Jim approaches him about it, all he does is kind of whistle and go off on his own. Then we get to the whole thing of Big Jim investigating Christine because he overheard a conversation that Christine was having with Eva, and he decided to investigate. And obviously Eva didn't realize that the people in Chester's Mill are nosy as all hell, particularly Big Jim, which he should have been iffy of him, considering that he was the reason why they didn't finish their mission. Jim finds his camera, and he basically sees what happened when Christine grabbed the Eggy Mini Dome. So Jim is just feeling like there's something off about this woman. So he's trying to tell Julia at the end, and Julia's just not listening to him. And Big Jim was like, well, you can stay here. I'm leaving. And I'm going to say this in closing. When Big Jim starts making sense, you know there's something wrong. There's something that crazy that's just about to happen. And the fact of the matter is that he is 100% right. Like, the townspeople went into those cocoons like caterpillars, floated around in that jelly-like substance, and then popped out all new. Because at the end of the episode, what happened? Christine realized that the townspeople, for the most part, were listening to her, and that she's going to have to, you know, keep working on Joe because Joe's still skeptical. She's going to have to, you know, reel in Julia, but she's going to have to kill Big Jim because Big Jim is basically a cancer. And even though, in her eyes, to this whole mission, and even though Big Jim is on another part of the area, it doesn't mean he's not going to come back and start a whole big mess. And I hope that in the next episode we find out what is up with that dog. Seriously. And I'm not the only one who saw that Barbie and Eva held hands. So clearly those two are still connected, and it'll be pretty funny if Eva actually is pregnant. Then how the heck is Barbie going to explain that to Julia? And maybe Julia, after talking to Big Jim, is going to realize Big Jim knew what he was talking about. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my quick impromptu review of CBS's Under the Dome. Don't forget to rate this video, leave your comments, let me know what you thought of Under the Dome, what you're thinking of the season so far, and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my brand of crazy. I love you guys. Take care. Bye, guys. Bye. My Hannibal review is coming very soon. Bye, guys. Bye.